I'm here with Luc Lising. Luc is one of the top 1% of realtors in Canada and solver of all problems. He's sold over 180 million. Is that $1 million worth of real estate?
Yeah, I think now that I wrote that last year, or my team did,
Wow.
I should say, I think we're over 200 now.
$200 million of real estate. That's incredible. So you scaled side hustles, multiple six figures within a span of a few months. You teach the deserving real estate wealth and creation and business development. So we'll get into that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Luc.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on the show, Sam. I guess a little bit about myself. I'm primarily known as the guy that specializes in pre-construction investments in the real estate space. My team and I have been responsible for, I want to say, a little over $200 million worth of real estate sales transacted over the last 2 to 2.5 years. And I like to say that I am the solver of all problems because a lot of people know me as the real estate guy, but I never introduced myself as a realtor. Because if you have a problem, there's a good chance I can probably find a solution to it, which is also why I built other side businesses that also have done it exceptionally well over the last couple of years. And yeah, I'm not really just tied to one industry, but I am primarily known as the real estate guy.
So when you think of being a problem solver of all things, and tell us a little bit about your business. What are those problems that you solve for people on a regular basis to create income?
I guess on the real estate side, the reason why people invest in real estate is because just like you and I, Sam, we just want to what people say is escape the rat race. You know what I mean? We're in real estate, and a lot of people have politically correct answers to this. I had one agent. She was doing one of our immersion programs, and the question that she had for one of her video content topics was, "Why'd you get started into real estate?" And then she asked me for ideas, and I said, "Why would I give you ideas?" I said, "That's only like you only have the answers to that. So why'd you get into real estate?" She said, "Oh, I got into it because of the money, but I can't say that on camera." I said, "Why the fuck not?" I said, "Yes, you can. People like it when you're honest." So you and I, Sam, I'm sure we got into it because of the money. People invest in real estate because they want to get into it for the financial reasons. And I don't know why I just went off on that tangent, but yeah, I mean, yeah, like the when it comes to creating wealth, I think my main business, we serve investors that want to create wealth in this space, and we help identify investment opportunities, and that's the problem that we solve.
Okay, perfect. So diving a little bit about identifying opportunities, tactically, what does that look like when you're identifying an opportunity, and where does that show up with maybe an investor or someone that's, regardless of where they are in their financial journey?
Yeah, completely. I know some agents and some investors like to dabble in the space of speculation, but I personally don't because I think there's too much risk there. I'm more of a, high reward, low risk type of guy. And I find that investing in places like the core GTA or even places like the KW Gulf area, which is where you practice in, Sam, I think areas where you know that there's strong stability and growth, that's where a lot of my personal investments, as well as my investors, that's where we keep our focus on. We don't dabble too much into markets that we don't know very well. And with that being said, that's kind of where our focus, that's where all of our energy focuses on, just those markets where we know we get safe returns. Because we know in the GTA on average, you appreciate anywhere from 7 to 8% annually. And that's just based on 40 years of data. And to me, that I'm happy with that. I think based on 40 years of data, if I can get 8% a year on my property, I think I'm very happy with that.
That's excellent. So your investors, do they come with you for more midterm, long-term goals? Are they scaling things up? Are they starting out? What does that look like as far as the people that start out with you in that first consultation, if you will?
Always long term, because to my point earlier about avoiding speculation plays. If like let's say like we're doing a pre-construction condo investment and you bought something in 2019 and you're closing now in 2023,
Right.
and I told you back in 2019 that you're gonna make 200 grand on this purchase when you close on it in 2023, I'd be proven very quickly that I was wrong.
Right.
Whereas if I told you if you hold every 10 years, values double because 100 years of Canadian real estate data shows us that every 10 years values double, I'll win and you'll win. And that's our philosophy, buy and hold. If in 3 years from now you make 250 grand on your investment, great. If you don't, no problem. We have 10-year windows in mind anyway. So that protects myself and that protects the investors as well.
I really like that because there's a lot of limiting beliefs or objections around. Well, new construction, you said, it's going to go up by 300,000. It didn't. I'm not able to sign the contract. 10 more units in the same building came for sale. What do I do now? I like that fact that you use real stats, use a trend line based on the last 40 years. You're seeing growth in that area. That's fantastic. So what are some mistakes that people are making then when they start real estate? If they don't meet with someone like you, or, what are some mistakes that they make when they're getting into real estate investing, and how can you avoid those?
I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make, not just in the investing world, but also just in business.
Yeah.
I'd say honestly, I'm not a life expert because I haven't lived much, but I think just in life in general, I find that a lot of people are arrogant. So when someone as successful as yourself, Sam, tells somebody that, listen, I've been doing this for X amount of years. For myself, I've been doing this for almost half a decade now. If I say based on the half a decade I've been doing this, and of the hundreds of pre-constructions a year, this project will outperform that one. But a lot of people will argue with me and say, no, this project will do better than that for X reasons, but they've never done a single deal in their life. How could they possibly know? I think people are just arrogant. My advice is find somebody that you trust,
Mhm.
and take their advice, because if you trust them, and if they're an expert in that field, the chances of them screwing you over, the chances of you losing, is very slim. And I do that across many different aspects in my life, especially in real estate investments, because I'm not deploying pennies here. Like, these are expensive assets, $600,000, $2 million properties, right? So I want to make sure that I get the right information. A lot of people just jump into something because they heard something on Instagram. Whereas all you have to do is just simply reach out to someone that you already know and trust. And if they have a lot of experience, just take their advice.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lack of a growth mindset there, right? They think that they have all the knowledge, or they'll say like, Uncle Johnny showed up at the home inspection, or the investment consult told them that they should never buy a pre-construction, or that,
Yeah.
Jimmy lost money on the pre-construction, so don't do it. I think that's absolutely, you hit it right on the head. I think it's bang on. You have to have a power team. So why is a power team important in your mind to creating wealth, generational wealth for your clients, planning, mapping out that strategy for them?
Yeah. I mean, as an investor, your main job is just to be the investor. All of the other work should be delegated anyway. Like, so for my in my example, apart from my core team of realtors, that's like whenever anyone purchases in pre-construction, what we do is we introduce them to two other people. We handle the sourcing of the investment, but we have a real estate lawyer for one, and number two, we have a mortgage broker. The purpose of those two roles is for the real estate lawyer. Whenever you buy anything with condo docs in Ontario, you
Mhm.
automatically get something called a 10-day due diligence period.
Yeah.
At this time, you're going to be like, the agreement that you get, the APS, it's like over 200 pages. We don't expect you to read it, nor do we expect you to understand it. So what we do is advise our clients to sign it before even reading it. I know it sounds silly because we have the 10-day due diligence period. And at that time, my lawyer, one of my two lawyers, will review the contract on your behalf. They'll outline page per page what everything means. They're going to say, Sam, on this page, you're going to find the assignment clause, and here are the legal stipulations behind the assignment clause. And then he's also going to say on page 37, here's where you find the HST implications and how that works. Bah, 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 bah. The lawyer reviews it. If anything were to be missing from the contract that would put you at risk, it's my lawyer's job to get that amendment in place so you're protected. So that's why a lawyer is important, because they will cover you. The second person is a mortgage broker, not because we're getting a mortgage today, but because we need to get a pre-approval. So those two people are very important, because if you're missing one of those, the deal's probably not going to go through.
Yeah, that's a great point. So it seems like they definitely have their own roles. They do due diligence. They help the client map out a strategy and understand what the contract's all about. Because all builders have different contracts too, right? So
it,
it's
it is quite standard, but the way they lay it out with different incentives, yeah, it varies. And if you don't have the right things in place, you could get screwed.
gotcha. And when you talked about, being a good market as well, like what are things that you look at with your clients when you discuss the market and you show them the market statistics, or the actual market in Toronto, to help show great investment, for example, in Toronto or in, let's see here. Sorry, you know what? My can't my microphone. Hold on. I'm gonna edit this out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fine. I can hear
Okay.
you fine though.
Okay, you can hear me fine. Okay, we'll just keep going. Okay, so I think my question was regarding, yeah, just however you want to answer that. I can always ask it again if needed. I think I got sidetracked. One sec.
Was the question, how do we pick a
Yeah.
project?
So
Or
when you're analyzing a market and you're looking at Toronto, what are the things that you look at in the market? You look at the trends, you look at the previous stats in the area, the growth, the transportation. What makes Toronto a great market? I know it's a big city, big market. what makes that a good market? Because some people would say, what about, if things like COVID, et cetera, like would that affect the market, or how has Toronto performed overall? And what do you look at when it comes to Toronto making that a great market?
Yeah, I think because Toronto, I can go off like for days about
Yeah, I know.
them as a city, like Toronto as a city, right? Because of all the infrastructure. But whenever we pick a project, there's three things that we look at. The first one being is the location, because the moment you deploy capital into a project, it's not like you can pick up the building and move it. That capital is stuck there until the time of completion when you sell it. So location, what do we look for? We look at the employment. Are there actual jobs being offered into the area? Like who are the employers in the area? Like if we're looking at the Amazons, the Googles, all the
Right.
tech companies, if they're in this city, then we know that it's somewhere with a strong infrastructure. So for Toronto, we offer that. We have the biggest law firms, the accounting firms, the real estate firms, the big tech companies. All of it's here. It's all of this is central in Toronto. The KW Gulf area. I know you guys have a Google headquarters over there. That's a great factor to take a look at. The schools. What kind of schools do we have? Apart from that, you also want to look at transit. How's the transit? Do we have LRT, GO? Do we have VIA? What kind of transit do we have? Are we right off the 401, the four? Like where are we located in terms of transit? If we're in the middle of nowhere, then it's gonna be like the less people are gonna be there, right? Like my colleague Jesse brought to my attention a listing that we're trying to work on in Woodstock, and I keep telling people I don't even know how to spell Woodstock. So those are generally the type of areas we like to avoid. And another thing we look at is just builder reputation, because we know if the builder has a track record of completing projects, not canceling them, fixing deficiencies, not screwing over their company, their customers, excuse me. Normally, that's a good sign, and that's kind of what draws us toward the project.
Okay, so definitely the builder's reputation, the market, understanding your market, the location, you're not able to move those assets. So that capital is going to be there, and look.
Sorry, Sam, I think I lost you.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can edit those all out, so it doesn't matter. What was I saying, man? Okay, when you look from ROI perspective, return on investment, I know on your website you had different properties, different projects. Is there a specific ROI you're looking for? How does new construction compare to, like, a resale, for example? And, what would make that a good investment over that, maybe a resale?
Yeah. So the thing is with pre-construction is the price points will be slightly higher than resale properties. Sometimes they're as high as 100 grand, which is ridiculous to me. Sometimes they're as low as 25, 30K. The lower it is, the better for it for an investment, that is, because you can effectively tie up properties at today's prices for something that's not going to be built for 3 to 4 years. So ideally you want to be finding price points that are relatively close to the resale values in the area. And once that checks off, I look at the deposit structure. First I look at what's the price points, then I look at the deposit structure. The team and I just did a project in Mississauga where the price points were almost identical to resale condos in the area, and the deposit structure was 5% every 12 months. So if I'm buying a $600,000 condo today, I know 5% is 30 grand. So that means I only need that 30 grand in May of 2023, May of 2024, May of 2025, and May of 2026. Anyone can save 30 grand a year. And if maybe you can't, maybe you can invest with a partner and go 50-50. Now it's 15 grand a year. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to look at when it comes to the actual specifics of a project. What's the price points like? What's the deposit structure like? Do I have the right to assign? Do I have the right to lease during occupancy? Are my development charges capped? I like to look at the price points, the deposits, the incentives, things of that sort.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you're going ahead and finding these projects, and we'll go into other stuff too. When you're going ahead and finding these projects, what do you do to find these projects? Do they come, there's a specific list, VIP list? Was one particular realtor get these deals over another? How does that work when it comes to finding these projects?
Well, yeah, 100%. Builders, especially on the condo side, 99% of them, they do what's called a cooperation with a realtor. And that means their VIP list of platinum agents. Platinum agents is like a term of agents that they have close relationships with. Those guys and gals always get first access to projects. The reason why it's important to work with a platinum agent is because those first access units to any project, that's when the units are the cheapest. And what builders do is they sell their units in different stages. So for example, if there's a 300 unit building in Toronto or even KW, the builder's not going to sell all 300 units the day they launch. They normally sell them in different chunks. Let's just say 70 to 80 units. That first round of 70 to 80 units, only platinum agents get access to those units. And only then that's when their prices are the lowest. As soon as they sell out, they increase the pricing anywhere from 15 to 20,000, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. And then they release them to more people and also to more agents. So that first round of sales, that's the most crucial part, because that's when you get that first rise or that first kick up in pricing. Like automatically you could be making 15 grand because someone next week's going to be paying 15K more than you for the exact same floor plan. So that's kind of how it works. They have relation, like only some agents have platinum access. My firm, we have platinum access to a couple of builders, and for the ones that we don't have access to, they're normally smaller anyway, so we don't touch those projects.
Okay, excellent. So you have a specific allocation, you have a relationship with the builder. Is there certain things that as a realtor, you kind of proven a track record to be able to get that platinum access? Because that seems like obviously a great thing and people should be working with you when it comes to new construction. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like even some agents ask me, because even the politics of being a realtor, agents like reach out to me and say, how come you get access to this, but I don't? Well, it's because my question is, what have you done for that builder? Because like I'll give you an example, Sam. There's a project just in your area, in your end, is called, what was the project called? It was by N8. It was across Tech Towers. Do you know Tech Towers in your area?
Yep.
So it was right across Tech Towers by the same builder. I forget the name of the project now. DTK Condos. That was the
Oh
name of
yeah,
the
yeah. I've
project.
seen those. Yeah, quite a bit.
So
Yep.
DTK Condos was coming up for closing last year, and I knew a guy that was selling an assignment sale at that project, and he just so happened to work for a builder. He hasn't sold it, and because he couldn't sell it, what I did is I helped him sell it. I brought a buyer, I presented the opportunity, and my buyer bought. Since I sold inventory that he couldn't sell, I built a relationship with him. And that same project, that same condo project that he had the trouble selling, he gave me access to the one across the street, and I got first access pricing for 5 units at that building. And immediately, those 5 units went up by about 80K the next week.
Wow.
So to get relationships with builders, you have to do the dirty work, because that assignment sale, it's tough to sell assignments, right? Especially because you can't put them on the MLS. So you got to be able to do the dirty work for builders and sell what's not in their inventory. And once you can do that and prove that you're a good salesperson and you can put deals together, they'll give you first access all day long. Why wouldn't they?
That's incredible. So really definitely making sure that you're going above and beyond, you're creating that relationship, you're selling those tougher deals that someone else isn't able to do. We say that all the time. Like when someone's interviewing a realtor for selling a property, we show them how if we could sell the property when another agent had it listed, that brings a track record, doesn't it? Like it allows you to show
Yeah.
that you're absolutely an expert. So you mentioned some of your other businesses that you are a problem solver. We'll go back to the condo thing in a bit. Tell me a little bit about your other businesses. What are you up to with those businesses, and how do you solve problems when it comes to creating income for yourself as well?
Yeah. So I was doing a podcast Monday night. It was like 10, 11 p.m. And one of the questions, like someone in the crowd was just so curious. I think it was like one of the videographers. He jumped in on camera and then asked me a question. And he asked, he said that he's been focusing on his media business. He does a lot of videography, photography, et cetera, et cetera. But then he started to dabble in the Forex trading world. And then he asked me, he said, just out of curiosity, when is it right to switch from one business to another or add on a side hustle? Because I don't know how to balance my focus. And then I said, it depends on the opportunity that arises. And then I brought up the example of my side business that I started last summer. So last summer, I started a car detailing business, and it happened for two reasons. One, my brother lost his job. He got laid off, and he was looking for work. So he never owned a business before. So he brought up the idea of starting a detailing business. I thought it was a good opportunity. I didn't want to do any of the work. I funded the entire thing, and I built the relationships. But at the same time, and this is how timing can be great, I was having a meeting with one of my buddies that owns a car dealership, and then he brought to my attention that they always detail cars anyway prior to selling the vehicles. This guy was selling anywhere from 20 to 30 cars a month. So
Wow.
then that clicked in my brain. There's a business opportunity there. I can niche out and focus on car dealerships. So then that's what I did. I started focusing on car dealerships and detailing cars for them. We were doing 20 to 30 cars a month. The blessing there is that he allowed us to be his, like, our guinea pig. Like, we were a test run and we weren't that good at the start. And then after we got better, he introduced us to another dealership that was doing well over 100 cars a month. And if you do the math on that, Sam, if you're charging $200 a car, $100 a car, you could be making $10,000, $20,000 a month, all cash. And
Wow.
and I bring that up because I identified an opportunity and I took advantage of it. There are some times where I do that and it fails, but there are some times where it works out in my favor.
That's incredible that you've been able to really look at that opportunity and create a key relationship with a strategic partner to gain to be able to serve more people. Now, even $100, that seems like a great deal. If anybody's looking for a car deal or the detailer, that's actually a really good price. I'm sure it's more than that now, right, Luke?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Look, we
fantastic.
just did one like just now and we charged like 215 for it. But if you do volume, obviously we'll give you a little bit of a discount. But
No, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have your contact information in there. So you primarily focus with investors, lots of new construction. You teach quite a bit. Tell me a little bit about why mindset is important when building your net worth and your network. Because you talked a lot about on your site how your network is your net worth and just how mindset is important there.
yeah, completely. I think that's pretty much the foundation of everything. And if you see anyone that's tremendously successful, you'll see that there's a 99% chance that their headspace is on the right track. And you want to know what's the biggest turnoff for somebody that's successful with the right mental headspace is when someone negative comes into their life and brings that shit to them. You get shut down. So how can you even network with other people if you're bringing a negative attitude to the table? Because the only people you're going to end up resonating with are other negative people. And when you add those two together, you guys get nothing done. Whereas if you approach somebody that's successful with everything in order, their mindset in order, their mental health in order, their physical health in order, and you come in with like a negative attitude, they're gonna shut you down real quick. So at the end of the day, the only people you're gonna end up connecting with are people that don't even that you're not even aspiring to be anyway. So you just gotta get your shit in order.
Yeah, I almost feel it's that mirror neurons. You start influenced by by the behavior of people around you, and you become bigger and start doing more and be influenced subconsciously to even do more. You touched on the health part too, health mentally, mind and body. Why is that important? What does elite health look like to you? And how does that relate to even legacy, like building your own legacy or your wealth?
It's so funny because you see some of these guys and gals that are massively successful and maybe they're not in the best physical shape or they don't have the best physical health or mental health. I think it's the longevity behind it. I personally find that on those days where I'm not exercising, I'm not getting my stuff in order, I'm not like my routine's just totally off. I find that my workflow is not as as good. They say that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So everything I have in my life is in order because I know that it's gonna help propel what I'm working on in my business, whether that's in the car detailing stuff, the real estate stuff. And I know I'm sharper. I didn't have my first drink, Sam, until I was 22 years old, until I turned 22, which was last June. I didn't have a sip of alcohol ever since then. And the reason why I found that to be very important in my career development was because I knew that if I'm handling someone's $600,000-700,000 purchase, it would be ultimately disrespectful for me to come in hungover and not sharp, not being able to address their questions, which is why I took health very seriously because it would be a disrespect to myself and also a disrespect to those relying on me.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's huge, right? Because you're how you do one thing is like you said, how you do everything and how you're showing up here and how you're influencing the people around you. So you talked about how you kind of got started into real estate. What is your why? What is your passion? What drives you to do more, to create more? It seems like you're very successful. You're in the top, you've done hundreds of deals in a year. Your team is successful. What drives you to keep doing and pushing for more?
Yeah, thank you for that. One thing I want to say about that first before we even go too deep about the why. Whenever you chop down a tree, right, you would use an axe, but it would be wrong for the axe to boast about the fact that it chopped down the tree. Only the axe wielder can boast about the fact that it chopped down a tree. I bring that up because I'm just an axe, and I believe that God is the axe wielder. So I have no right to boast. So thank you for bringing up those accolades. So glory to God for that. But what drives me is the fact that growing up, like I immigrated into this country when I was 8 months old. So my parents brought me here when I was 8 months. And I've told this story all the time. When I first came to this country, my parents had to finance an $80 TV. We didn't even have cash to buy an $80 TV. You know those tube TV stands that go like this? Like that have a long extension in the back.
Oh
That's what we
yeah,
call a tube
yeah,
TV.
100%.
Yeah, like we didn't even have the cash to finance that. And kind of what my why is it's not that I ever had like a superhero or an idol to look at. My why was just the fact that I didn't want to go back to where we started, because that would be a very depressing state for me to live in, and an ultimate disrespect and spit in the face to my parents, because they worked too hard to give myself and my brother an opportunity to break free from where we came from, the Philippines. So that's pretty much why I've been doing what I've been doing ever since.
And how has being able to break free, how has that impacted your work with helping others break free when it comes to financial wealth, abundance? I'm sure there's definitely a strong why behind that, especially with your upbringing and where you came from.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to resonate with everyone because and same with you. Like I'm 22 years old. I'm Filipino. Some people are racist. Some people don't like the fact that I'm young. So I find that if I'm as brutally honest as possible about my upbringing and who I am and where I come from, I find that the right people will come into my world. And if you want to do business with me, great. If you don't want to do business with me, great. I think it's just I don't know if it gets any deeper than that.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. So your team right now, you're on REC, you're with REC Canada, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, and you have
yeah.
you have a bunch of agents working with them with new construction. I'll edit that part out. It's all good. So how do you got so when you're guiding your investors through the journey of their portfolio, what are some things that you look at when you're helping map out their plans? What's going to be the best option for them when it comes to investing in a certain type of asset class? And if you could share with me as well, what are some key principles you teach in the pre-construction class that, someone could take away and start implementing today to contact you and maybe look at this as an opportunity for them?
Yeah, as silly as it may sound, I think the very first thing that anyone should be doing is reaching out to somebody that is willing to help them out. Because this is investing or just in anything else, even in business or career, whatever it is. Because when I first got started in real estate, I had no guidance. I was with a different brokerage for my first 6 months in the business. I was 19 years old. And after 6 months of doing absolutely nothing with zero guidance, I reached out to the gentleman that runs our team, Jazz Takar, and he was the owner of our company. And I told him that I would work for him for free. I wanted to learn from him, et cetera, et cetera. That was kind of how I got started, because he ended up taking me under his wing. I dedicated my first full year in real estate learning from this guy, and every single day I had the opportunity to pick his brain and just even be a fly on the wall and listen to conversations. That's how I learned. My advice is for people to not be as arrogant as they are now, because it's as simple as reaching out to Sam. It's as simple as reaching out to me, DMing me on Instagram, finding my email address, whatever it is, asking me for advice. And me, I'm an open book. I don't sell programs to agents. The owner of my company does, but I'm not in that position. I don't sell courses. I don't have programs to sell. I just help investors invest in real estate. And if you just so happen to own a car dealership, then we can talk about that as well. But apart from that, I don't have any courses that I sell. If you just want advice, if you need someone to if you want to pick my brain, I'm an open book. And I don't want to speak on your behalf, Sam, but you've allowed me to pick your brain, and you're an open book as well. But people, there's something that's so ridiculous that people see, someone as yourself, Sam, that's successful and does very well in your own business, but they don't approach you and ask you for advice. It's just as simple as that. Just ask for the advice.
Yeah, it's almost you wonder what limiting beliefs or programming holds people back. Like I wonder what they're because one of our biggest missions was to change that programming or that thought pattern of how money works and how to create wealth and that it's good money's good for the good it can do. I just feel like there's a lot of change that needs to happen when it comes to helping people see what they can do. And I feel like people are starting to realize the importance of the system and how to really make something for themselves. So I really love that you brought that up. Having a power team.
I let me,
Sure.
sorry to cut you off, son. Let me
No,
ask
please
you this.
share.
Let me
No.
ask you this then. I was gonna say, let me ask you this then. Like, how did you get started, and was there someone that mentored you and gave you that advice?
Oof. That's been a lot of times. I'd say it's all a process step. Like we took a flipping course. It was like 30,000. We didn't have the means to do it. I called my wife, said, hey, we spent 30 grand on this course and we're just going to figure it out. It opened up a door, even though that business didn't work. It was a real estate investing business where, you buy houses for cash and all that stuff. It didn't work out. I was kind of, at least I was taking a step in the direction. I was starting to read about Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was starting to understand a mindset. And I think your mentors can be books, can be different people. And I feel like that message comes to you when it's the right time to help you level up, to get the next step, to understand what that next vision is for you. And that message comes at the right time, whether it's source, universe, God. I feel like it definitely. So to answer your question, I feel like it's a combination of people, books, you're a combination of the books you've read as well, right? And I digested and actually took action on. So yeah, I would say that would be my answer to that. What about yourself?
I think it goes back to the story kind of that I kind of briefly shared about how I joined REC, and I just dedicated my first full year,
Yeah.
failing for like the first 6 months learning from Jazz. That was kind of how I learned. But no, I was just curious because to my point, a lot of people would just they know what to do. They know it's just a matter of putting your ego aside,
Mm.
asking for the advice, and putting in the work. And a lot of people don't even want to do the first two steps. People still have their egos.
It's interesting you say that, because when you tell someone, you're getting a this percent return, this is going to help you, it's going to help you build your family. It's almost like the subconscious keeps them safe, right? Okay, well, no, I'm not able to do that because of this, or this is not going to work. You know, what do people have to do, or what do they do to break out of that? I would say, is it the people that are around? Is it having the right power team? Because I feel like there's a lot of programming and values that they didn't even accept, but they just accepted them as theirs. And it's holding them back from what they know they should do. Like people know how to work out, they know how to eat right, but yet there's a lot of people that aren't healthy. So what are your thoughts on that? I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Wait, so you said there's people that eat well, work out, but are not healthy?
No, no, there's people that know how to do it. There's people that know
Oh, okay.
they know how to do it. They know it's simple to do the right things. Success is simple, not easy. But they don't take action on it. Subconsciously, they're not allowing themselves to get to that next level, or there's some kind of programming in there that's keeping them stuck from moving past,
Yeah,
or getting that condo, or calling you and get investment property that they really want to take advantage of. Trust that makes sense.
yeah. So it's a number of different factors, but 1000% of the times it will always come down to the person themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to know what's so funny? If I told you 20 years ago that Bitcoin would go to $60,000 Canadian, you would have thought I was on crack. But now it is. It was at the peak. So if you knew that 20 years ago, you would have scraped every single penny you could possibly scrape just to invest in Bitcoin. The reason why people don't take the leap of faith is because they don't believe in themselves. If I told you that I can give you let's just say a training course for $500, if I can sell you a training course for $500,000, and it's everything that I use to build a multiple six-figure, multiple seven-figure business in real estate, and you don't take it, and I'm being genuinely honest about it, it's because you don't believe in yourself. It's because you don't believe that you can build a multiple six-figure or a multiple seven-figure business.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I showed you what it was, then you would have done it. But you don't believe in it. I've showed it to you. You know what I mean? It's the belief people have in themselves, right? It's the same thing about Bitcoin. If you knew what Bitcoin was going to be, you would have done it. If you knew that you're going to be a seven-figure business owner, you would have done it. But you don't even believe you're a seven-figure business owner. That's why you don't do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think you nailed it. It's going to determine their lid, right, for how they can actually, what they can actually achieve. And I will attest that is a phenomenal program. And I'm going to link to that because, I've been in the business 8 years. We've served over 250 clients, and it's still to this day, I found so much value in that. And I think you said having that growth mindset to take new ideas and just have a non-bias, non-judgment, not no ego, and figuring out what you can learn and take from that and implement.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, completely.
yeah, absolutely.
Completely.
So what's next for you right now, Luke? And what are you working on? Right, what's next for you? Where can people reach you as well?
Yeah, you can reach me probably best on Instagram, which is at Luc Lising, LUC Lising. Honestly, Sam, nothing new. Every single day I wake up feeling good, feeling blessed. I just keep working, just keep working. Like nothing's really changed. Same job needs to get done, same people need to be touched, same lives need to be changed. So we're just gonna keep doing what we do. The goal is to do what we're doing now at a massive scale, and we're just at the beginning. So I hope in a few years from now we can have another conversation like this and we can contrast the difference.
Yeah, I'd love that, right? Your future self and your current self. Your core values, what are those? And what do you say? How do those show up every day in your life right now? Like your core values and how it influences you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier, and I gave the analogy about an axe
Yeah,
and the axe wielder. I think first comes first to me is my faith, and everything else after that trickles down and figures itself out.
that's awesome, Luke. So we'll leave it for now. I really appreciate it. I think there's a ton of value from this. There's a lot of action items. If someone's looking to get started and they want to invest in condo or pre-construction, we talked about some of the benefits. How can they get started and why is it important? Just real quick, and then we'll stop it there.
Yeah, if we're talking about pre-construction specifically, reach out to someone that specializes in that field, whether it's an investor or an agent, and pick their brain, see what they can, see what advice they have.
Awesome, Luke. I appreciate your time, eh? Have an amazing day.
Yes, thanks so much, Sam.
Thanks, brother. You take care.